I just got tired of all of the drugs. I got tired of all of the sex. I got tired of all of the greediness of money and seeing how people just turn to evil, trying to get it and get the bag as by any means necessary. And then that whole life to me was like, I did what I did, I'm cool.
Big Boy's Neighborhood, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now legendary up in here. The one and only Kurtis Blow.
Kurtis Blow!
KB, welcome to the neighborhood. Welcome back to the neighborhood, bro.
Yeah, well, thank you.
It's a pleasure to see you, my man.
Legendary
voice. Hey, it's my pleasure to be here. I say 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hit it! Hey, man, let me tell you. Your hat says, I am hip-hop. And that you are, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, man, it's crazy when we think about hip-hop and we see where it's at today. Did you have, I remember one of my first hip-hop vinyls was you, Kurtis. You know what I'm saying? And we've known each other for decades now. But I was and I am a fan first. When you first start doing this thing called hip hop, this thing called rapping, you know what I'm saying? What made you fall in love so early? What was your introduction to this thing? Because you introduced a lot of people to hip hop.
Yes.
How did you find it, and what was it to you?
Well, big boy, I'll tell you, it was the music. The music. My love of music.
Yeah.
Music was my escapism from dealing with all the trauma that we were going through back in the 60s with the civil rights movement. And, government officials were arguing and debating with public officials and community organizers. And it was a rough and tough time for America during that time. So we, as the kids coming up out of this, everybody was talking about, okay, we have the right to vote, so let's go out there and party. Forget about your troubles. Forget about your cares. Let's go to the disco and have fun. So we came out of that movement and dancing, DJing, graffiti, all of that became our lifestyle just to escape from all of the crime and the racism and all of the trauma that we faced back then.
And it's wild because when you look at it today, man, it's social media. There's so many things that, either you can get along, genres, whatever it is, but we're talking about a time, man, when we didn't have hip hop.
Right.
We're talking about a time when we didn't have certain genres and regions and states. It was just this early thing that people loved. And not knowing where it was going to go, but we knew where it was at.
Right,
and
exactly.
And that's a difference. And Kurtis, you had so many firsts. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get into the first, but paint a picture for what hip hop looked to you early on. It wasn't on the radio.
Right.
It wasn't coming out of the speakers as you drove by.
Right.
And it was just this thing that you love and you had to go find it.
It was brand new spirit and energy that just spread around the whole 5 boroughs of New York City. And I'm talking about, man, everyone was into this thing. Dancing exactly was the American pastime. There was a dance craze from the twist to the Chattanooga, Tennessee waltz and all that stuff.
Hustle was just everything.
The hustle and all of that stuff.
When dances had names too.
Yes. So the club became the focal point for the party. You work all week. You went down to the club and you paid your little $5, $10 and getting in this disco ball and the lights flashing all over and the mirrors and everyone had on suits.
Yeah,
and silk
it looked different back then.
Ties, and it was fly. It was fun. It was something that we enjoyed. And that's where it came out of, the need for this energy, for this unity, for this passion of love and peace and just having safe fun.
Hey, man, when you look at what we know as hip-hop and what we know as rap, from back in the days, a lot of people could say, you were there first, or whoever it is. There's a lot of introductions that comes to hip hop. There's some people say, "Oh, I was introduced to hip hop by Eminem. I was introduced to hip hop by," but there's people that say, "Man, I was introduced to hip hop by Kurtis Blow. I was introduced to hip hop by Sugar Hill Gang, whatever it may be." How were you introduced to hip hop? Because you were our introduction.
Right. Well, I'll say there are
Who's before you?
two people.
Right.
Well,
For real.
that's a good question because I jump on the shoulders of soul music.
Yeah.
Of the Motown sound. So there was a guy by the name of James Brown.
Yes, sir.
Man, when I heard this guy, I lost my mind because I never saw anyone like that on stage just command an audience. And wow, he was electrifying, with the dance moves. And then his beats was the boom baps. It was like boom, that, boom bap.
Yeah, man, get a drummer something.
Instead of that pop, 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 boom, pop, pop from, the Motown sound. So he came with the musical revolution that we lost our minds when we heard Clyde Stubblefield hit that beat, man. That was it. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud in 1968. He performed at Yankee Stadium. It was sold out. And there was a DJ playing the music. Grandmaster Flowers was his name. And a lot of people don't know him, but he was one of the catalysts to hip-hop in this whole disco movement. And hip-hop was what we call ghetto disco.
Hey, man, and you know how now everybody can say, man, put on the instrumental, put on the instrumental. There was no instrumentals. It was, that's why when we say the break, so when we say, hey, man, give me that break beat.
Yeah.
And it was just funky drummer or somebody would mix something back and forth. Do you remember those days when it wasn't the instrumental where you had to keep repeating the break beats?
That's one of my claim to fame is that I was the first one to put an instrumental on the B-side of my first record.
And that was
Christmas Rappin', right?
Yes, man.
So on the B-side, you had the do-it-yourself version.
Yeah, man.
Which was the instrumental so a rapper could do their thing.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. And that's when you flipped it over, that's what it was called on the record.
Right.
Wow.
It said
The
do
breaks,
it
too.
yourself.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so you would go and you would flip it over and you would hear
Right.
then I can hit it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But why was that so important to you to make sure that we had instrumentals?
Great question. Because it was the official style of what we were doing during that time as MCs. So when we got the chance to transition to being a rapper, that style, that format still was in my heart. So I'm like, I can't sing this live. I don't want to rap over the beat, over the, that was we as MCs, we never rapped over the vocal of the chorus of a song. Or when somebody's talking, you shut up. You're the MC, you rap doing the instrumental.
Like a breakdown
during
or
the break.
Yeah.
Right? And so I couldn't do that anymore live. I'm going out here singing on top of my records. You know what I mean? I want to sound like a real singer when they go out with the band.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's necessary.
It's very important. It was a policy, a deal breaker
for you to have. Because have we seen like even when you go to like a Barry Gordy, Barry White.
Right.
Barry White would give you these long intros. Doom.
All right.
Doom, doom, doom. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Before you go into ecstasy,
Right.
So were you the first that gave us as an artist, as a rapper, as an MC, that gave us an instrumental?
Yes.
Because I know Sugar Hill Gang, you could flip over Rapper's Delight. Because Rapper's Delight had an instrumental, right? But you made sure that now, what was first though?
I don't know.
Right.
I can't say that. I know that I did it in 1979, and it was my thing to keep it real like an MC and bring that to the record. And this is why we have the instrumental version. So So, nowadays you see cats, they are rapping when they are out there live and they're rapping
Over
their vocals.
the vocals, yeah, man.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, I'm not a hater. It's a great show, but it's something I would never do.
Hey, man, when you went into Christmas Rappin, explain what Christmas Rappin was to you. Like, why did you make that record?
Well, a couple of reasons. I'll say it was an idea, a concept that we figure out to live forever. A song like this, my first song, was a song designed to play every Christmas.
Yeah, man.
And
to this day,
it plays.
it plays every Christmas, bro.
Right.
And what were the first words that came out of your mouth on Christmas Rappin?
Don't you give me all that job
about things you wrote before I was alive.
That this thing 1823, it ain't even 1970.
Now I'm the guy named Kurtis Blow, and Christmas is one thing I know. So every year, just about this time, I celebrate it with a rhyme. Doom, doom. Yeah,
you gotta
gonna
say,
shake it, gonna break it, gonna make it good. Yeah, man, gonna rock it through your neighborhood.
See, and that voice was the voice of hip hop during that time. The MCs, we all sound the same, and that was our radio voice. And we got that from Hank Spann, who was on WWRL, Super 16 radio station. He was like the king of New York before Frankie Crocker.
Gotcha.
Right? So everyone, I used to, just mimic him and
so you knew what you were doing. Yeah. When you said, clap your hands, everybody.
Yeah, this is WWRL Super 16. My name is Hank Spann, and you can call me the server.
So you knew exactly that there was one way that you talked, and there was one way that Kurtis Blow had an MC voice.
Yes, and we were mimicking the radio DJs that came before us.
Hey, man.
We thank you.
Where did you know what I'm saying? Like, those are just things, because when I would hear Kurtis Blow voice, I knew that was Kurtis Blow. You know what I'm saying? Even when you say, I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you just had this voice that you knew that you owned, and you knew how to put your voice in the Kurtis Blow pocket. Right.
And, well, I get it from the MCs or the on-air personalities that were before me, and, of course, James Brown. But that one, I got that from James Brown. He says
crazy,
that all a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got that from James Brown. A lot of stuff. A lot of my guitars sound just like
But
James
you also had, Kurtis, you made sure that there was instrumentation too, because even with the breaks, there's guitar, and even when you say when the guitar, what song when you say when the guitar play lay down,
guys
the
with
heavy
the 88s,
yeah. So you sound so great, but you knew
that's
that
James Brown and all that Motown funk and soul music that I heard in the 60s when I was a little kid. Every band, they would do a song. We're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-minute songs,
man.
Right? It's a journey. When you put it on, you go through a journey. And in that journey, there is a solo. There's a solo from, let's say, the horn. The saxophone is the most solo-driven instrument in R&B and soul music, right? And then you have, of course, the guitar.
Yeah.
You have the drum solo.
Yeah.
All these solos, whatever they are, we put them in there and just make sure that it's a journey that you're going through. And when you hit that solo, you're just maxing and relaxing. Wow, this sounds good.
So you made sure that your music sound like what you were hearing and what that feeling gave you. And you didn't want to abandon that feeling that you had. and you wanted to continue to share that feeling and give that to us.
Are you kidding me? The saxophone in party time is one to not miss, y'all. I'm talking about, it's straight out of what's his name, Fred Wesley and the JBs, straight up. That saxophone.
One that I always enjoyed as well from you, Kurtis, like people give the breaks and If I Rule the World, but another one of mine was Throughout the Years, your ups and downs, your highs and your lows. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like you've been a soundtrack to my life. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I've been, you know how when you would say, like, man, we grew up, or you grew up on soul music and you grew up on jazz, you grew up on. With me, I grew up on so much music. I grew up with the Commodores, and I grew up with, with the Jacksons and, the Supremes and the Temptations, the Four Tops. That was in the house. But then hip hop became mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was like mine. Amen. Where I was like, dude, like, what is this that I'm listening to?
Right.
And it put me on a quest, like a journey to find more.
Right.
I would get hip hop, KB, that I didn't even know. I would just buy it by the title. It wasn't about the artist. You know what I'm saying? I would just go in and buy white labels because I loved this thing called hip hop. And I loved it so much, man. And the one thing also is I enjoyed the credits, the lyrics, the instrumentals. I enjoyed the of the record.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm cut from that cloth. So early on, when we get an introduction to Run-DMC, you had already knew about Run-DMC. The same way our introduction to the Fat Boys. You already knew about the Fat Boys. Run-DMC could be one of the biggest groups in hip-hop, especially early on. And you can't rival that. There were a lot of firsts when it came to Run-DMC.
Oh, yeah.
What was your relationship with Run and with Run-DMC?
Oh, man, that was my group. That was, I actually, Run was Russell Simmons, his younger brother. Russell and I went to college together. So I convinced Russell to open up a club in his hood because I was majoring in communications, and I found out that the best way to get your track record and your popularity up is to open up a club in the outskirts and then come back with a track record. Oh, I'm number one in a small market. Give me a deal. So we opened up Night Fever Disco on Hollis Avenue with the Hollis crew. And his younger brother, I was like 18, 19, Russell was 20, and his younger brother was 13, 14. So I met his younger brother and his whole family. I stayed out at his house, and we hung out on the weekends. I was the house DJ for the club, so I hung out at his house on Friday through Sunday. So I got a chance to hang out with the family, and Joey was a younger brother that was just traumatized by this hip hop and me DJing, being all these records around, and his dad bought him some turntables up in the attic, and he started rehearsing. Wow, incredible practice, and he became a great DJ. So I made him my DJ. We called him my disco son. Yeah, my disco son DJ Run, like to play music and have big fun. And we went on tour in 1979. When I made Christmas Rap, we toured all around the country, just Joey and I.
Right, and at this time, Run, which is Joey Run for Run-DMC, how old is he?
He's about 16.
Right, and
14,
and
15.
his name then also, you know how they say, such and such, but he was also billed as the son
of Kurtis Blow.
Kurtis Blow.
But here's the deal. In 1979, when I made Christmas Rap, we started working when I put out The Breaks.
Yeah.
In 1980, I was going on tour with the Commodores all around the country.
Because we didn't have hip-hop shows.
So this is what happened. Joey broke his arm. He was playing basketball down the block in the park with this guy named Jason Mizell.
Yeah,
his
man.
Friend.
Jam Master Jay.
He had to stay home. His father said, "You can't go on tour. You got to stay in school. Please let me."
And
go.
Pops is like a reverend too, though, right?
Pops
He's a preacher.
No.
Okay, that's Crush Groove. I'm blending.
That's in the
okay.
movie. He was a teacher.
Got you're definitely not gonna let your son go on tour.
And so he was not letting Joey go on tour. Joey, you got to stay home. You broke your arm. You can't go. So he stayed home, and I used Davey DMX.
Yes,
took
sir.
him out, and we traveled the world.
You seen
right,
Davey?
Right. And so Run stayed home. So the story is, if he didn't stay home, he would still be on my DJ. Right. And he stayed home and formed this group called Run-DMC. When I got back from tour, they had a demo called It's Like That. And I was like, oh, my God, you formed a whole group? Oh, my God, that's great. That's great. So the story is, if he didn't break his arm,
and stay
there
back,
would be no Run-DMC.
Wow. Hey, man, and you know what's wild about that story too, Kurtis, is we got to think about 79 and 80. Like when you say you left on tour,
right,
and then when you came back. So this isn't, I can call him on my cell phone to check in. I can FaceTime him to check in.
Right.
This is like you leave and you come back, and it's this kid now that has Jason Mizell, Jam Master Jay.
Right.
Daryl McDaniels, DMC.
In the attic.
Yeah. And now they're Run-DMC, and they have a demo called It's Like That. And for that to go from It's Like That, and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost crazy when you say, man, you see how God works, or you see how the universe is written? That's one of those things, man.
Amen.
When you see Run-DMC get on and you see It's Like That early, do you know, can you see that this is a sound and this is a group that's going to, like, show the world something we've never seen before? Could you see that, Kurtis?
You know, I like to tell people all the time I'm a visionary, right? And but let me tell you the truth right here. It was up in the air with them. I mean, I knew I loved Run, Joey, and DMC as well, and that was my crew, and I supported them 100%. For sure, in the early days. As a matter of fact, I let them open up when I was on this big show with The Clash, right?
Yeah.
I let them open up for me at the sold out 10,000 people. And this was the first time they did sucker MCs on stage.
Man.
And so, you know, my heart has always been with them. I love them. But it was rough in the beginning.
What do you mean by that?
Many artists, for them to get out there and get exposure, to get accepted, to get liked by the audience, it was tough in the beginning. But when they got out there and got their exposure, once that record was released, they shot from the bottom of the totem pole to the top of the ceiling.
But Kurtis, when we look at, you know, Rolling Louds and, you know, Coachellas and all these festivals, and you'll see, you know, even with tours, it'd be such and such on tour together, and we get genre tours, or we get tours that make sense. Back then, when you're talking about, you know, I was with The Clash. For anybody that know The Clash is like a modern, like a, you know, a rock group. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or when you say, man, we was with the Commodore. It wasn't like hip hop shows that was going on. We didn't have that yet.
Opening acts.
Yeah, man. Wow. Oh, so opening acts. And I remember Prince, as big as Prince is, Prince opened for the Rolling Stones and they threw things at him. You know what I'm saying? Wow. They booed him off the stage and they threw things at him. So you got to think, no matter how big hip hop is or how big Kurtis Blow or Run-DMC is at this time, when you go on and you're working with these rock musicians, a lot of times people are, you know, it couldn't have always been harmonious. You know what I'm saying? When we say paying dues.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing back then with rock and roll, especially because, you know, like you said, The Clash, they were the biggest punk rock group ever.
Did
right?
the Clash do Rock the Casbah?
Rock, yeah.
Yeah, if you
sure
don't
is.
like it, rock the Casbah.
Right.
Rock the Casbah.
So I got this story. They came to me. They said, Kurtis, man, we got this group, The Clash, the biggest punk rock group ever, right? Then they have this tour. They coming to America, 30 shows, and they want you to open up the show. But let me tell you, Kurtis, it's a tough deal because every group that opens up the show for the Clash. It's a ritual for the audience to throw stuff at them and, boo them and curse them out and just
like get off the stage,
trash the opening act. It's a ritual of the Clash tour, and they did it to Diana Ross. They did it to the Temptations. They did it to Prince. They did it to James Brown. So they came to me. They sold. So I said, "Oh, okay." Then I used my communication skills and philosophy. I'm going to work their aggression against them. So I went out there like an MC. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the Clash?
Yeah, man.
If you're ready for the Clash, let me hear you say, "Oh, yeah."
Oh, yeah.
If you're really ready, everybody scream.
Yeah. Oh, so you're doing the MC thing, and they don't even know what you're doing to them.
Right? So then I said, well, the Clash asked me to come out there and sing one song for y'all. Just one song, because I sing one song. Oh, yeah. All right, so I sing Christmas rap. Yeah. I got all the crowd response, say, "Oh, yeah," all that stuff, right? So at the end of the song, I'm like, all right, are you ready for the Clash? Do that same routine again, right? All right, one more song. I say one more song, and then we're gonna have the Clash.
Yeah.
And then I do the breaks, right?
I love it.
I got through my whole set, and they loved it, and they did not trash me at all. They did not throw.
How many
anything.
shows did you do with the Clash?
So after that one show we did at the Pier in New York, they said, "Oh, you got to go on tour with me."
Man.
And as a matter of fact, they brought me back out on stage with them when they were doing that song, Magnificent Seven. Remember that?
Nah.
Don't you jump. Get out of that car. Don't you at the top. Get out of that cab. It was like a rap song that they did. And it was hot, right? Called Magnificent Seven. And so they had me come back on stage to do that rap part and get the crowd going crazy.
And you're
like
seeing something that we hadn't seen in our genre.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And at that point, we didn't even have our own yet. So you was kind of getting on stage where you could, grabbing a microphone where you could. And I remember even early on, man, with us rapping, like I remember getting suspended from school for rapping.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like rap to some people was a problem. It was noise.
Yep.
It's never gonna make it.
Taboo.
It was taboo. It was a fad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You heard rap get so many different titles and so many negative tones on it. But it was just this thing, bro, that we just loved. And you could see when hip hop and rap was pure, oh my God, man. It was nothing, Kurtis, it was nothing like it, bro.
I tell you why the nation in the world began to love it is because of those first initial artists that were out that the world saw. From Sugar Hill Gang to Kurtis Blow.
Yes, sir.
To that message, that song, The Message.
Yeah, man. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. Yes, sir.
Right? So
shout out to Melly Mel.
Those big three songs
big three
that came out did so much for the longevity or the credibility that this thing is possible to be a movement. And it's not a fad.
Right.
It's something that is special.
Do you remember when hip hop, you felt like hip hop was capturing the world? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And that was amazing. It was like a dream world, and I was like thanking God every miracle that I saw. I saw a lot of miracles from people, over in Europe who's coming up to me talking about, the German guy talking about, I learned how to speak English by listening to your song, The Breaks, right?
Yeah.
And how we just changed the world.
Yeah, man.
That is so special. And I'm going to tell all the young people of the day, you guys can do it too.
Yeah. And we are. You know, and it's crazy because do you ever feel, KB, that hip hop, and not in a bad way when I ask this question, but do you feel like it could be disrespectful to the creators of hip hop? Like, you don't hear people say, man, F the Rolling Stones, or you know,
No,
and anything that we say gonna sound bitter anyway. But do you ever feel like, with you being such a creator, that today people should really know that?
On one hand, yes, of course, but you know, on the other hand, I'm grateful to be alive to see it myself, to be there and say, oh my gosh, I was there in the beginning when we're going to the Cool Herc parties and going to the Beat DJ Jones parties, and I know the difference between the two parties and the two audiences and how this whole culture, this whole movement came to be. There's no one on this planet can take that away from me and my heart. So, you know,
and not
whatever.
Yeah,
I ain't mad.
And not sounding braggadocious either, man. But do you sometimes, like, there's sometimes I've been on radio 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And in the most humble way, I can say this. There's times when I go, damn, I'm on the radio, or I go, damn, like somebody say Big Boy, and I'm like, damn, I'm Big Boy,
right.
And not braggadocious, but it's like, I can't believe this. Do you ever have that moment where you're like, I'm Kurtis Blow, and not in a bad, crazy way, but like, damn, I'm Kurtis Blow.
I made a song, an album called
Kurtis Blow?
Ego Trip.
Ego Trip, yeah. You know, but and that's a young, probably, you know, ego tripping Kurtis though.
So yeah. We all do that. You have to. Like we were talking about that earlier today. You know, that song Michael Jackson made called "Man in the Mirror."
Yeah.
This is how, you know, you can show love because you love yourself. You can't show love if you don't love yourself.
Right.
If you have hate in your heart, if you have, you know, pain and misery and anxiety and stress in your heart, this is what you're giving out to the universe. So my whole thing is that, you know, I love everybody because I love myself, you know, and it's all good to love yourself, you know. It's all good to be on the ego trip. Just don't go overboard and get put in jail.
Right. Hey, man, what about when you do, because you still perform to this day.
Yes.
What makes you stay on stage, and what makes you continue to tour and grab that mic and do what you've been doing for so long?
That's a great question. It's the audience, the people. When I witness and hear and feel that audience, when I say, everybody scream, and I hear it. It goes to my heart, to my feet. I feel it in my toes. You know what I mean? It's like the same feeling I used to get when I used to go to the club and I'm stressed out and I just put my head in the speaker and I feel the bass rumbling all throughout my body, down to my toes. And I close my eyes and I just go off. And that's hip hop. And I get that same feeling that audience, because, you know, it's the audience, the people that make us brothers like me. Without lovely people that in that audience, there could never be brothers like me.
Hey, man, when you hear like Nas, If I Rule the World, when you hear songs like that, where, you know, and I remember I talked with Nas one time, right? And when Nas and Lauryn Hill, when they did If I Rule the World, and they go, imagine that. I asked Nas, I said, man, why you didn't go, and he was like, you know, Big, he told me, he said, I wish I would have. I wasn't thinking, you know what I'm saying? Because every time I hear Nas, If I Rule the World, I hear the original, and I still play the original to this day, bro.
Right.
And I'm like, I miss the, you know, I love all the girls. And then you go, I love them, baby. I love that. Yeah. And when you go, oh, yeah. Like, I'm telling you, man, this just, I got goosebumps right now, because at one point, man, anybody that's into music or love music, at some point in your life, you didn't have nothing else. Like, I'm talking about, man, music got me through being homeless. You know what I'm saying? Family members, dad not around, whatever it is, I had this thing called music.
Right.
And music was my saving grace. And that's why I tell you, KB, you were a part of that, bro. When I was 9 years old, 10 years old, I had a skateboard. We were living in a motel in Santa Monica, and I would grab my radio and I would skate down this hill because we had to leave when the maid was cleaning because they didn't know that it was that many of us in the motel. So I would go and I would listen to, throughout the years, your ups and downs, your highs and your lows, and I would skateboard down this hill, walk back up, skateboard, like you were a soundtrack to my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you gave me so much solace when you didn't even know that there was this 9, 10-year-old kid named Kurt Alexander that was going through something. And you got me through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's music, bro.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about when it's a saving grace. And you created that for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people, bro.
Amen.
And that's why it was so very necessary for us to come in and have this sit down, because I don't want you to ever feel like, oh, man, we forgot. And then I'm in a position where Ani probably didn't know your contributions to hip-hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And what you mean to this genre. Because people are going to come in when they come in.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But if I could tell someone, nah, dude, this is where this came from. This is where that song came from. This is where came from. This is where the DJ did. Yeah. And sometimes people don't want a history lesson. And I totally understand that because we live in today. But there is a time also where you have to give the accolades and understand that the reason why people get $100, $200, $300, $1 million, $50,000 for a show is because the love of hip-hop that you guys have. The reason why hip-hop is on the radio is because what you gave us back, you know, when you were doing it. The reason why hip-hop is going overseas and you meet somebody from India that just came here and you know what I'm saying, is because what you guys did beforehand, and nobody thought about the bag, which I ain't tripping off of now.
Right.
Nobody thought about the bag.
Right.
Nobody. It was just this thing that you just loved.
Right.
And you damn near gave it away for free.
Yeah.
You know, because you loved it so much, man.
Just give me cab fare.
Yeah, and I'll get there. You know what I'm saying? Give me, hey man, has anyone ever? And I'm going to ask this question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. Has anyone ever told you that Kanye West looked like you?
Yes, I just read an Instagram post today where someone called me, what was the term? A gopple banger.
Oh yeah,
Doppelganger.
Doppelganger?
Yeah, man.
A new word for me. I'm a Kanye doppelganger.
Yeah, but that, do you see the resemblance?
Yeah,
especially if you look at older Kanye, like younger Kanye album covers and Kurtis Blow, yeah, man,
it's surprising to me. But
oh my gosh,
yeah, man,
I can't unsee it anymore.
All I can say is thank God.
Yeah,
this image right here.
Yeah, man, and she did a side by side that was there, man.
Yeah.
But leave that. When we talk about hip hop, man, there's a song, Kurtis Blow, that you did called Basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court.
Just like I'm the king on the microphone, so is LeBron James sitting on the throne.
Because now, fast forward, 40 years since basketball came out, bro. And now there is a basketball kind of that is revisited. And you know what I love about this, man? Is that we got the original person that gave us basketball 40 years ago.
Yes.
Giving us basketball
2.0
today.
Basketball 2.0 is coming out. It's out right now, y'all. And I want to thank everyone. Lola Brooke, who came and supported and rapped a serious verse for the WNBA.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank her. I want to thank Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Hit Boy produced by.
But Hit Boy understands texture.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Man. It was wonderful working with him, going to his studio down in LA, man. It was incredible. We shot the video. I want to thank Dave Myers.
Yeah, and his daughter.
Yeah.
And
Cassidy.
And they did, and you know, if anybody know Dave is a historian when it comes to putting videos and work together too, man.
Right.
And what's the relationship with DoorDash?
Oh yes, and DoorDash. It's a DoorDash commercial.
Ain't that
actually.
crazy?
So we're
I
taking
love it.
bits and pieces out of the video and making them, promote.
Do you get
DoorDash and
DoorDash for
stuff.
free to the house now, or you didn't work that deal? I'd be like, man, what are you talking about, dude? It's basketball 2.0.
Actually, that was a deal breaker.
yeah. Like, man.
no.
Like, but is that wild, man, that you did basketball from your heart years ago, and the names that you put in there?
Oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Dr. J, Moses
Yes.
Malone. You know what I'm saying?
crazy.
Like when you did that 40 years ago, no way that Kurtis Blow, you sitting here 40 years ago and say, man, in 40 years, it's going to be a company called DoorDash. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just released something that was true to your heart.
Right.
And look how good music stands.
Right. I mean, oh my gosh, who would ever think that 40 years later this song? But we had again the same kind of creative concept. Policy of making songs that would last forever.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
wanted to do that again with Christmas rap. So when we came to basketball, I just had it in my mind, the possibility, oh my gosh, this could be another another Christmas rap
For you.
for
Yeah.
me, playing every year for the basketball. And that's how we created it. My wife came to me and said, you love that basketball so much. You watching it on TV every hour. So you need to do a theme song for basketball, because baseball has their own. Take
Right.
me out to the
The
ball game, right?
yeah.
And so, so that's where the concept came
That's
from my
crazy.
wife, and so I went to my writers. Shout out to William Waring as well, my buddy, and we got that song created, man.
Hey, man,
it was
did
incredible.
you know that to this day they're playing basketball? That it would be here. We love that basket. Did you feel something back then? And when you say to the hoop, y'all, or the pill, like, did you have a feeling? Because you went
Yes.
in kind of with an intention, like, man,
Yes.
baseball has a theme.
Yes.
Christmas rapping, this could be played every year. So you
Yes.
went in with feeling like, man, this could be, but it's not like the NBA came and said, Kurtis Blow,
Right.
we need a song called basketball.
Right. Exactly, man. No. When we got in the middle of, by halfway through making the song in the studio, man, I was like, oh, this is a hit.
This is it.
This is gonna, at least it's gonna be a big radio record.
Right. But not knowing that it would last
And
this
I didn't
long.
care.
And you hear
know?
it at basketball games and any time that you've heard that your entire life.
It went further than what we expected.
Right.
Yes. Just to be the theme song of high school basketball teams and elementary schools. Little
man.
pee-wee teams, 6, 7, 8 years old, they doing the layup line to my song is playing in the background.
And you know what's crazy about that, man, is that that's one of those songs you could be sitting there and people don't even know possibly sometimes that it's you. that was your contribution, and you see somebody in a layup drill or you're at a basketball game and it comes on.
Right.
And it's like, man, I created that.
Right.
And that's that moment too where I would say, man, I'm Kurtis Blow.
Right.
Like, that's crazy, bro. When was the first time you went overseas?
Wow. That was 1980. Yes.
And
For
music
sure.
took you overseas, right?
Yes. Debbie Harry from Blondie,
Blondie. Yep.
did that song Rapture.
Yeah.
And so she had got the feedback from everyone about Kurtis Blow, and he's blah, 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 whatever. So they came to me and they said they wanted to fly me to London to do a press conference about this thing, this movement, hip hop. And I said, oh, this is great. My first time getting on a plane going anywhere.
So you hadn't been on a plane even to like Philly, or you hadn't been out the
No, I
country?
have been on a plane, not out of the country.
But not out the country.
I went to Chicago because the label, Mercury Polygram, was the main office in Chicago, Lakeshore Drive, right? So my first flight was in 79 going to Polygram.
So the first
Chicago.
time you went overseas.
So first time I went overseas,
Passport stamp.
Debbie Harry paid for it. And when I got off the plane, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, cameras everywhere. This is the first time I'm getting off the plane and I see camera down by, how you step down the stairs. You see the president come down.
Yeah.
There's a aisle of steps that he walks down from the plane. Well, at the bottom of those steps on the runway were 20 cameras. And I'm like, oh my God, they started taking pictures, blah, 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 blah. And Blondie was there, and Debbie Harry was there. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So that was it. So I went to the record company and did a whole lot of press, and I've been doing press ever since.
Amen. But you come home from London, or you come home from England,
right?
And you come right back home to wherever home plate is at that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
New York.
And when you come back to New York, at this time, are you it's not even like megastar, big old home. This is like you kind of go to the UK and you come back home or to London and you're like, man, did you understand? Like, dude, there's something going on over there.
Oh,
and I need
gosh.
to get back to whatever that is.
No, it was more like, oh my gosh, this is a dream. This is not real. This is a miracle situation right here. To have a hit record, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is incredible. So I'm like traumatized, I would say. I'm 20 years old, you know. So I never been out of Harlem. You know, I start to travel all over the world and see different countries and cities that I've never been to. I only see them on TV. I went to Paris, France, the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I was on the Champs-Élysées.
Amen. But you know what's wild about that? Is that if we didn't see it on TV and magazines or books, it wasn't like we had social media where it puts you right there.
Right.
You know, so I remember when I first started to travel, I was like, this is it. Like this is the Eiffel Tower. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is Big Ben. You know, like, and not that we weren't supposed to, but we're just, you know, you, me, whoever's in the neighborhood, somebody watching, we're kids from the block.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
This is traumatizing in a good way.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's the miracle blessing of life that God blesses us with. And I'll tell you what God did for me, God can do for you too as well, because God is able.
Go ahead, Lou.
How old were you when you got the first major record label for a rapper?
I was 20.
20 years old.
Jesus.
20 years old. Yes, 1979.
Hey, man, and there's just some firsts, man. Like, and we were saying Mercury Records.
Yes.
But there's a lot of firsts that came with you as well, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when we speak about first, you know, of course, like you're one of the first that I ever saw on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like rapping on TV.
Right.
We didn't see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
you were the first person that we heard like really coming out of our speakers when we didn't have hip hop stations. You were the first. You know what I'm saying? You were the first that when we would stay up late and watch TV shows, like it wasn't about like, oh, this is a show that's all hip hop. Like you would come out on a show that was just, you know, this is a guy that's rapping and doing what we love. You know, the first on the covers of magazines.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you have any of those like magazines or any of your first?
Yeah, I have a couple of items and stuff like that. But
first to go gold.
I tell you that Sprite
were you the first to go gold?
First to go certified gold.
Certified gold.
Now I would say Sugar Hill Gang is the first to go gold.
Right.
Because that record.
Oh,
platinum. They sold
Rapper's Delight.
over 17, 18 million records. But it wasn't certified. But
certified gold?
Certified gold was the Breaks in 1980. And that's the first one for the history of hip hop. But also, you know, I was the first to do that Sprite commercial in 1984, I think, or 5. And that was the first endorsement, you know. Now tell it to a friend, we're chilling out with the taste that's in. Now more than ever.
I remember this.
Now more than ever, the Sprite.
Amen. So when you say the first, and I remember, let me tell you what's crazy about that, is in my office right now, they did a campaign where it was like Drake and it was Sprite.
Right.
And I remember, man, I was a bodyguard for the rap group The Far Side.
Okay.
And I remember The Far Side got offered a Sprite commercial.
Ah.
And you got to think now, we're talking about, you had already did Sprite,
Right.
in 84.
Right.
We're talking about 92. If that. 94 is when I got into radio. So
Right,
92 and 93, that's when The Far Side, passing me by goes. I remember they got offered a Sprite commercial and they turned it down because they were like, oh man, that's cheesy hip hop. And then Tribe Called Quest, everybody did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you got to think, we weren't even getting looks when it came to endorsements. We could drink as much Sprite as we want, but we weren't the face.
Right.
And they came and got you because they understood who you were, the demographic, and who you were speaking to.
And I was feeling so great because when they finished the commercial and it came out the first time it played during, remember ABC TV, they had the movie of the week.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
sir.
So this week they had Rambo.
Right.
And the first commercial out of Rambo was
you.
my commercial.
For Sprite.
And I hit the floor.
Hey, man, and you know what's wild about that is that's when TV shows was getting millions of views. We didn't have 55 channels.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't have satellite. We
Right.
didn't have streaming. So when you saw certain shows, we were all watching it in real time. Even then, we didn't have like VCRs. There was no TiVo. There was no recording of shows, anything like that. So we were actually watching
And the
a lot of the
movie
stuff.
of the week
Yeah.
was the biggest reviewed show during the week.
Yeah.
The movie of
So are you at home? Did you know your commercial was running?
Yes.
Yeah.
They told me.
So
it's
you
gonna-
just sitting there waiting. Yeah, man.
I'm sitting by the TV, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Just to be in that position, and that was a big blessing. That's a miracle blessing for me again.
Yeah, man.
And I say it's God. It's all God.
And KB Kurtis Blow, are you a preacher now? Or
Amen.
ordained minister?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got saved back in 1992. Church on the way out in the valley. Rest in peace, Pastor Jack Hayford, incredible man of God. But I went back to college, seminary school in Nyack College in New York, and did 2 years there and got my degree. And now I'm actually a doctor.
I heard that.
Of ministry.
Why was that important to you? Because you got to think, man, there's a lot of noise that's going on when you're, a superstar, when you got these back-to-back records and back-to-back albums and hits and tours, and there's a rock lifestyle that comes along with it.
Yeah.
And you got to think, for you to do this in 1992, there's still a lot of Kurtis Blow. You know what I'm saying? Like, why did you say, you know what? Stop the world right here. I want to get off.
I had to make that change.
Yeah.
It was all
Man
about
in the
that
mirror.
man in the mirror. I had to do it. I just got tired of all of the drugs. I got tired of all of the sex. I got tired of all of the greediness of money and seeing how people just turn to evil, trying to get it and get the bag as by any means necessary. And then that whole life to me was like, I did what I did, I'm cool. Let me go out to LA and raise my family.
Right.
And live a normal life, and I'm cool.
Right, because you had seen so much, man. And you know how they say, did you find yourself saying, man, my gift could be my curse?
Exactly. And I refused to go down that road. So that's why I got saved in 1992. Did a whole lot of Bible studies. A few years after that, went back to college, became a minister. I started my own ministry called the Hip Hop Church.
Yes, sir.
And you can check us out at hiphopchurch.com.
Why was that necessary for you to continue that message, though? And not just continue it, Kurtis. I'm saying, like, I've never seen you publicly shame what's going on today.
Right.
Oh, you guys need to do this, because we all come around when we come around. But why was it necessary for you to save yourself and then say, man, you know what? Maybe I could save others. When you think about, your hip hop church, why was it important for you And it sounds cliche to spread the gospel.
Well, that's what it is. A lot of people run from these situations that we are faced with in hip hop right now, and how the transition, how the lyrics have changed, and how the whole mindset of the integrity has changed. But I went to school to study so that I can stand in the gap for my people. First, I wanted to change my life, and then help other people. And that's what ministry is about. It's about reaching out, snatching brothers out the mud puddle.
Right.
And reaching back, trying to say, look, I'm a walking, living, breathing testimony of the power of God and the miracles that God is still in the miracle business. And what God did for me, God can also do for you. There's a verse in the Bible we say in 2 Corinthians 5:17, those in Christ Jesus are the new creation. All those old things have passed away, and all the new things become new. So, you have redemption. You can change your life, and no one is supposed to blame you for your faults. And this is the God that we serve, so you can get a second chance at your life. That's God.
Do you feel like going back and finding God and going back to school, and there could have been so many different directions you could have went?
Right.
Do you feel like you saved your life?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely. Believe me, I come from Harlem, from the ghetto. I mean, I'm talking about, welfare and the cheese and all that. So in the after hour spots, hanging out with the hustlers and the pimps and the pushers, and it was a difficult life.
Right.
know.
And then when you do get on and you get some money and you get some accolades and you get more people saying yes, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying too. The gift could be the curse.
Yeah, and I'm finding out it's all not cranked up to what it really truly is, and that's why I had to get away and change my life. And so now I'm blessed and fortunate to still be here to say I love you guys. I love you all. Thank you for the support of hip hop. Thank you, radio,
Yes, sir.
for playing that Christmas rap every year since 1979. We're talking 45, 50 years of Christmas rap still being relative in the hip hop world today. And shout out to all of my people over at DoorDash and also the NBA, the WNBA, for this new song we have coming out called Basketball 2.0, y'all.
Hey,
Yes.
man, and Kurtis, I gotta ask you why you're here as well, man. When you listen to what's happening today, the where hip hop is today, do you pay attention to a lot of hip hop, or do you just kind of stay in, the Kurtis Blow, your zone, and you know what I'm saying?
I mean, there are a few songs that get across let's say the barriers,
Right.
the shell, and like a couple of years, or what is it, last year or 6 months ago, Lil Durk with that,
Right.
All my life.
All my life,
yeah.
So
I
you
love that
certain
song.
things
Songs
that
like
touch your soul.
Yes.
Let me ask you now. A few years ago, Kurtis, you were having some health issues. Did you have a heart attack or what?
Man, big boy, I had 5 heart operations.
I remember I was talking with your queen, and
I passed out and went into cardiac arrest in 2017. I had a mitral valve repair, 2 aorta operations, and then I had a full heart transplant in 2019.
you had a full heart. So 5 operations, and you leading up to a full heart transplant.
Yes. And I am what you call a walking, living, breathing miracle. 5 life-threatening heart operations. I mean, there was one time I had a aorta split, and I'm in the hospital. They put a tube in and fixed it on the right side, right? And so the left side split an hour later.
Oh my God.
I'm in recovery. I got a pain. Doc. They did x-ray. It split. We got to do an emergency surgery. Doc came in and said, man, I don't know if you're going to make this one because, look, we got to take your heart out. It's already weak. So we got to take it out and freeze it on the side and take your brain out. Freeze your brain as well. And we don't know if it's going to start beating after 12 hours of being frozen. So you got to pray. So my wife and the whole family, they were praying for me. I woke up after the operation. I made it. I was like, oh my gosh. And I couldn't talk, right? I had the apparatus, so I couldn't talk. So they said, wait, half an hour, we'll wake you back up and you can talk then. So I woke back up. They had the tube out and everything. So the doctor said, man, you can talk. You made it. It was successful. Now I need to hear you talk. What's your name? I said, Kurtis Blow.
Kurtis Blow.
Oh, right.
Hey, man,
with the loudest voice.
But you know
Amen.
what's wild about that, man, is that you had already had, you said an hour later?
Yeah.
So you already been woke up.
Yeah.
They already woke you up and you thinking like, man, I made it. And then,
Right.
And then it's the other side.
Right. Heart transplant. After that, I was on the heart donor list.
Right.
I was blessed and fortunate to get a heart donor in the middle of the pandemic.
Really?
Yes, man. It was like a miracle just to be in that position. I was in the hospital for 8 months waiting for a heart, and I finally got one. Doctor
Man,
called
but
me.
you're in the hospital
God.
during the pandemic too?
Yes.
So it's already lonely in the hospital.
gosh,
But
yeah.
pandemic time,
Yeah.
it's not like loads of people can come in.
No.
So you're really there pretty much isolated, even loved ones,
Right.
let alone friends and other family and fans, whatever it may be.
Exactly.
So how do you, not only dealing with a real life-threatening operation or waiting on being on a list that some people don't even get a chance, and keeping it, vivid and candid, people die on the list.
Yeah, every 10 minutes. Waiting for a transplant.
Wow.
Every 10 minutes, someone dies because there's no lungs, there's no kidney, there's no heart.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're not only dealing with health issues, you're dealing with isolation, loneliness, and you're dealing with the actuality and realism of these numbers and odds are stacked against me. But you got faith.
Yeah, I got the Bible. I'm reading that Bible.
Yeah.
I'm watching TV. I watch, oh my gosh, every movie known to man. I have seen.
Yeah, man.
I got free time, and I wrote a lot. Recorded a lot. I got my computer there. I'm recording songs.
So you made the best out of what you could.
Oh yeah.
And how are you today, Kurtis?
I am mighty fine.
Right.
That's my.
I heard that.
I'm so grateful. Yes. I mean, I have those little minor problems that we all have.
Right.
And, cataracts and.
Right.
Hearing.
But thank God we made it. You made it there.
Yeah, these are minor issues that I welcome the chance to fix them and just say, I'm available for anything.
Wow.
Facts. In 1974, I went to my neighborhood community center. It was called Wham on 152nd and Amsterdam Avenue. It was an old police station called the 26th Precinct that they remodeled and shut down and made this community center. And it had 4 or 5 floors. So I went on the first floor and got on the microphone. The first time I rapped, let's say MC'd on the microphone, I did my Hank Span impression.
And from there grew
WWRL, the server
what we know as Kurtis Blow.
51, Inside Your Mind with Skull Snap.
Inside your mind, this time with the baddest jams I could
Fantastically
find.
funky music from
Oh
Skull
my
Snap
God, man!
LP.
It's a trip. I call
He
myself
had
a
the
historian.
one-liners, he had the one-liners. I'm about as funky as a crippled crab without a crutch, and that's too much.
Hey man, it's wild because if you didn't tell me this story, I didn't know.
56 at WWRL in New York. This is Hank Span.
Oh my God.
Definitely glad to have you there.
Hey man, that's crazy, man. That's
awesome.
crazy because what we give it to is
about to cry.
we give it to I give it to Kurtis Blow. Like my Nissan commercials where we be like, Nissan. I was like, man, that's Kurtis. Like that's Melly Mel and that's Kurtis. That's Kurtis.
Right.
Not knowing that you gave it back to someone else.
Wow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like man, when you say giving back to the community, you just did. And I had no idea, bro. Talk to me about the Nutcracker and what the Nutcracker is, Kurtis.
Oh man, the hip hop Nutcracker is a holiday season mash up for the whole family, everybody. So, I mean, it's all about that love, just coming together in the spirit of family, community. Just love is the time of year that you want to just grab a hold of your family and friends and loved ones and give them a big hug. It's Christmas time, so it's a holiday season. That's why we bring this play, this theater presentation to everyone. And it's our 12th season.
12 years, man.
12 years. Yes.
Yeah, man. I remember for one, I've always been, a supporter of what you do. And I just think that you do everything so pure and from the heart too, bro.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And you've always been so giving back. And we're not thinking about the hip hop Nutcracker.
Right.
And what this, safe zones to take your family to.
Right.
And we're not talking about just a one-off. When I look at the dates, man, this is a tour. And this goes everywhere. I'm looking at, for one, Cerritos, California, November 8th. But I'm looking at, 32. I'm looking at Washington, Portland, Boise, Idaho, Kansas City, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, like Texas, Kentucky, Ohio. Like, this is a tour that goes on, man. And it's for the family and it's for the holidays, man.
Right.
You know?
Yes, man. And the one thing about it is that I have hooked up with the what I call the B-Boy B-Girl Dream Team. These are excellent, incredible, passionate, talented B-boys and B-girls, dancers who about 12, 14 of them come out and they give 100% every night. And I see their love that they have for what they do. And it's all about the presentation of this. The story is actually like the original, the classic Nutcracker. It's a story about two young people who fall in love, and then their love creates a special magic that can defeat evil. And so we bring that forth, and it's all about the love, and they express it, and it's incredible. And I'm the host. I'll come out as the MC in the beginning and get everyone ready for what they are about to see.
Hey, Kurtis, do you still break dance?
Or
do you strike a pose a little bit more now? You know what I'm saying? You doing a little upright and standing upright a little bit more. Because I remember the breaks, man, where the breaks you had to break. You know what I'm saying? But now you make sure that you also incorporate a lot of breakers still to this day, though.
Yeah, I miss it. So much. Just doing my own thing. That was my forte, man. I was busting moves.
Yeah, man.
It was nice. It was very much the most. I still have fun trying to, get out there. I'm back in the gym, and I say by next year I'll be back breaking again.
Really though, man.
Yes.
So are you still performing?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. We going on tour November 8th. We're in Cerritos.
Right. So when you do the hip hop Nutcracker, do we get any Kurtis Blow?
Oh yeah, I come out and I do a medley of old school songs and get everyone together and ready, and then we start the show, and then I come back at the end and I sing again with the whole cast and crew. I sing the breaks. Right. And they are all doing solos and dancing, and it's a whole lot of fun.
You have a favorite Kurtis Blow song?
Oh, Christmas Rap.
Really? Why?
My first.
Yeah.
That's my baby. That started it all.
Man. That's magical, bro.
Yeah.
KB, I thank you for coming
crazy.
into the neighborhood, brother.
Legendary.
Thank you for
Man, Basketball 2.0, we're going to check it out. DoorDash, I'm going to check it out. Hip Hop Nutcracker here in Cerritos, man, and you can find the dates. Do you have a go-to website, or do we find you on social media to get all the dates?
Yeah. My Instagram is Kurtis Blow.
Ah.
At Kurtis Blow.
I heard that.
My website is kurtblow.com. Or
And we can find everything Kurtis Blow there.
kurtisblow.org or hiphopnutcracker.com.
You took them all, huh? This dude took them all.
Right there.
But Kurtis Blow, thank you for coming into the neighborhood, KB. And it's
Thank
such
you.
a pleasure to have you in here, man.
My
And we just recently
pleasure.
celebrated 50 years of hip hop.
Right on.
What did that mean to you?
Man, it's a blessing. It's a miracle. It's indescribable.
Yeah, man.
What we have been through the last 50 years, and I just want to thank God.
Yeah,
to
man.
God be the glory for another 50 years, y'all.
There it is, ladies
All
and
right.
gentlemen, the one and only legendary Kurtis Blow in the neighborhood, Big Boy's neighborhood.